Hi, I'm Richard Vague with Tychos. Let's talk infrastructure. Perhaps you've seen some beautiful airport in some other part of the world and wondered why most U.S. airports don't quite measure up. Or perhaps you've taken the Acela from New York to D.C. and had the train jerk and jostle so much that you could barely type an email or keep your coffee from sliding off the tray, and then wondered why it couldn't be as smooth as the Eurostar to Paris. Well, the American Society of Civil Engineers, or ASCE, agrees with your concern. In 2021, the ASCE gave U.S. infrastructure a grade of C-. Great infrastructure is a must-have to facilitate the efficient flow of commerce. In fact, the ASCE projects that if our infrastructure needs are not met, we will be losing about 4% of GDP by the year 2039. So why does U.S. infrastructure, its roads and bridges, airports and trains, electricity and water systems, remain in such poor condition, and how does it stack up against the rest of the world? In the 2019 World Economic Forum's infrastructure ranking, which uses 15 unique metrics, the country that received the top spot was Singapore. Among the Big Seven, Japan ranked 5th, Germany 8th, France 9th, and the UK 11th. All these countries ranked higher than the US, which comes in at number 13. The other two members of the Big Seven, China and India, the less developed countries of the group, were found all the way down at 36th and 70th, respectively. A key reason for our relatively poor showing is our declining investment in this area. The Global Infrastructure Hub tracks infrastructure spending by countries worldwide, and here the U.S. does not fare well. On this chart comparing the Big Seven, the U.S. sits at the bottom along with Germany. Further, we are spending far less than we have historically. If we take a look here at the Congressional Budget Office's Public Spending on Transportation and Water Infrastructure report, you can see we were spending as much as 3% of GDP in the late 1950s and early 1960s, but by 2023 that had declined all the way down to 2.2%. However, during the 2 years of the pandemic, we saw a slight uptick in infrastructure spending. This was a much-needed boost, addressing some of the most immediate and critical infrastructure needs, and as a result, the ASCE grade of a C- that we mentioned earlier was actually an upgrade from a D+ in 2017, and the first time U.S. infrastructure has been out of the D range in over 20 years. But clearly much work needs to be done. The ASCE recommends the U.S. increase its infrastructure spending by 1% of GDP for the next 10 years. Enter the 2021 Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, signed into law by President Biden on November 15, 2021. This is landmark legislation and will increase federal infrastructure spending by an estimated $110 billion per year for the next 5 years. While a significant boost, it amounts to only about 0.4% of our current GDP, which is less than half of the recommended 1%. Historically, state and local governments have provided the majority of infrastructure funding, so the question now is, will they, or given state-level budget challenges, even can they, step up their investment to bridge that gap? Thanks for watching. Please let us know in the comments what other economic topics you'd like us to discuss. Thanks.